I feel like every pedal propels me farther from my past and closer to my future.
I didn't even realize that I was homeless because I had a home and my home was prison. I knew if I'm going to be busy with criminal activities, I would end up in prison. So that would be far more better than being on the street actually, because I can get my own bed, can shower, I get my food, anything I want in prison. There's no way that you can become sober in prison also, because you can just use you can find anything you want in prison. My father, when he took me on the train to Cape Town, I was so excited. But in the meantime, he wanted to actually get me out of the area where I was known, just to show me new things. And also on a Saturday, we will watch movies, the old movies, that cassette player still. Yeah, so I think that's the only thing I can actually remember. Some good memories I had. So my dad was also always the strict one, but I can now see that he actually loved me. So, but I think when it comes to a father and a son, the relationship is far different. As to myself and my daughter, I can now see that it was very difficult for him to raise me at that point. But I, I can tell you that he loved me very much. The day I broke a cup here in the house, I don't know what I did before that, but I know I did something wrong. Then my dad gave me a hiding, and I went outside and I was sitting here into by the next door neighbors in the walkway where they in the what do you call it, the gate. I was sitting inside the gate there and I was crying. And then what was playing in my head was, they don't love me, they don't love me, they don't love me. So there everything just changed for me. So I went to go look for love out on the streets. So I ended up with the wrong group of friends. Because my friend's mother, how can I say, it was almost like she encouraged bad behavior. So I felt love there, because you can do whatever you want to, but still they will bring you back into the house, understand? So I still remember the first day I used this. We robbed someone in Athlone. So, and then we sold the phone and then we split the money amongst us. And then I had this money in my pocket, but I didn't know what to do with the money. And my friends were, all of them were smoking drugs already. But I resisted it at first. Then I gave in and I thought, no man, I need to be cool also. And if I want to hang out with him, I must also use drugs. And then I used Tuk. Yeah, and also we used heroin also. And from there, everything just went downwards. And the emotion I felt, it was like, it felt like the best feeling, because I think it numbed my emotions. Feeling that my parents didn't love me, and I felt more loved with being with them, because now the drugs was taking over my emotions now. I didn't think I was actually addicted to drugs. It was just like, this is what we do. We will just party with drugs. So every day, if I get a chance, I would use. Or if we wanted to party, we use drugs. It became like a norm. become normal for me to just to use drugs whenever I want to. So from my teens into my late 20s, I was in prison, so I can say I grew up in prison. I was sent to Polsmo, and they left me there. I think for 2 weeks, my mother left me there. And when I came out, my mother bailed me out. I was still a juvenile at the time. So she bailed me out. I came out. As I came into the door, my mother was speaking to someone outside, and I went to a wallet and I stole money. Then I went out and I went to go smoke again. Then my family saw the same routine again, and then they were drawing the line. They said, no, you don't want to stop with your nonsense. You need to get out of our house. And yeah, I think my mother didn't want that, but my father was the man of the house. So he said, you don't want me in the house. And then I ended up sleeping in a car, in my backyard. So my father actually didn't want me to sleep in the car also. So at night, if I want to sleep, I must jump over the wall to go sleep in the yard. Otherwise, I would just use stick and not sleep at all. Because I didn't see myself as being homeless. So I would walk in Mowbray, Pinelands, Rondebosch, all of that areas, just looking for something I can steal or houses I can break into. And I became very good in it. So I would go into people's houses while they were sleeping, even just to support my habit. And I didn't even realize that I was homeless at that moment. So I would just sleep for 1 or 2 days in a row, and then I would just go back to the street. I only had support like from my mother. I could phone her. So at that time we had that landline. So then you can make reverse calls out of prison. So I can still speak to my mother. Sometimes my mother would come visit me. But then she would tell me also that she went through a lot now to come to me. She had arguments at home. My dad didn't want her to come to me. So yeah, I still had my mother. But not knowing she encouraged me. But she didn't know at that time she was encouraging me because she was just being a mother. What changed in my life was that seeing my daughter grow up and knowing she's gonna realize what I'm busy with. I think that was the turning point because I didn't want her to follow in my footsteps. The reason why I decided to come live here is because I just wanted to get out of that area also, because it's all negative in that area. And I also don't want my daughter to grow up in that area and to experience life I experienced there, but to be more free here and to be in the other environments. Also, they're gonna build schools here. It's gonna be a shopping mall here. So, and she can be safe here also. That's why I decided rather to move and to start a new life. At that time, I was when I received it the first and the second time, I was still using, so I didn't want it. I wanted money because I want to support my habit. The third time, when I got the voucher, I came out of prison, so I wanted to change my life. So I got a friend that lived across from my house. So he had a bike, and I would ask him the bike if I can lend it just to go to the service. And just thought that I'm doing this for my daughter, so I'm gonna ask this guy for a bike, and I'm gonna cycle no matter what it takes. And yeah, it was hectic cycling from Athlone to Claremont. So I thought, let me try out this voucher, and I went to Claremont Service Center, and I met Guy Casey and Tamsin there, and yeah, so they asked me a lot of questions, and I thought maybe I must listen to these people, because I can't do it on my own. I needed someone to walk beside me. No matter I knew God was with me, but I needed someone in the flesh to walk beside me. I've mended so much families. Like my daughter's grandparents also, they didn't want me near. Like my parents also. I can only thank God, because I think I was 1 year in recovery and my dad passed away. So I still had that 1 year in my recovery when that I could mend our relationship, me and my father. So I think and he was sick, so I think when we mended it, I think then he could just ask God not to take him away, because he saw the change in me, and he knew I could be a son to my mother. I always enjoyed working in the garden, and also my mother have these green fingers. So when I was in retail, I felt so stuck, like I couldn't reach my full potential. Then when me and Chris were cycling, we had this conversation about, yeah, maybe Uton can open a landscaping company, and you can be the manager of the landscaping company. And it was all a dream at that moment. And I think a year and a half or 2 years after that, Julia came along, and she had this idea, connecting landscaping to people's lives, and opening a nursery and growing plants from a seed. So I would reflect someone that's coming into recovery and planting a seed. So my current role, I would say, I really enjoy it, and I can see a bright future also in there. So I would always tell the guys, look at that seed. Maybe if you plant it this summer, next year winter or in spring, the flower would bloom. So you must also look at it as your recovery. My outlook on life changed tremendously. Because even when I was doing the wrong thing, I always wanted the best in the wrong thing. So now that I'm positive, I've realized that not my future, but there's a lot of other people's futures and lives I can also change. Just for me being there and they seeing me now, the person that I am, already they want to change their life also. So I must say, if I reflect now, that it makes me want to break down in tears now, because I've come this far. So my whole outlook on life changed. Everything just changed.